Hey, true believers, Chris Mack coming at you today with Batman issue 244. This is one of those iconic books that you have to have in your collection if you're a huge Batman fan. This book is what's inspired, I believe the episode in the animated series was called The Demon Head Part 2. Part 1 was based on Batman 232, which was the first appearance of Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul. This series, which I believe it's kind of like a saga in a sense, and this is the last part of the saga. Once I get the rest of the books in, I'll go over the rest of them, but I think it goes from 241 to 244, and this is Batman's second encounter with Ra's al Ghul. And in this book, they believed him dead at the end of the last issue. But before we dive into any of that, the print date on this was September 1972. Story by Denny O'Neil, art by Neil Adams and Dick Giagrando, I think is how you pronounce that. They're getting ready to take Talia, and here, the way that Denny O'Neil writes, one thing that I will say is Chris Claremont, Dave Cockrum, and John Byrne really kind of set the tone for the X-Men that we know, and that's why a majority of that era is what inspired the animated series. Same here, a lot of the Batman stories from the animated series were inspired by Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams' era. So I kind of call Denny O'Neil the Chris Claremont of Batman. And that's just me, but listen to the way this is written. Herewith, another incredible chapter in the life of the world's greatest crime fighter, Batman. Come to a chalet nestled high in the Swiss Alps. Feel the clean bite of winter and listen to a distant scream of wind and endless crevasses. Here the Batman and his companion have captured Talia, daughter of arch-criminal Ra's al Ghul. Here also they watched Ra's himself die, they thought. But now a powerful figure leaps toward them, a snarl in his throat, and bloodlust glittering in his eyes. The demon lives again. And even though a lot of modern writers have done great work, Scott Snyder, James Tynion, who was before that, Tony S. Daniel, they just cannot catch the original writing like this. For example, first off, one thing, okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, Antidote. I was watching an interview with Neil Adams, and he confirmed that it is Ra's al Ghul, not Ra's al Ghul. So whenever you hear Ra's, it's just their interpretation, but he is called Ra's al Ghul. Now, the interview, he was talking about how DC asked them to make a new villain that could top Batman. And so they drew to the classics, which a lot of people, they don't touch the classics anymore, so you don't get that inspiration. But Denny and Neil basically took Moriarty, because Batman's the world's greatest detective, which is our modern day Sherlock Holmes. And they said the one villain that Sherlock could almost never defeat was Moriarty. So they said, why don't we do someone that's almost on the same level as Batman, but corrupted? And that's how we got Ra's al Ghul. And that's why, even though he doesn't have powers like Mr. Freeze or Clayface or freakishly horrifying like the Joker, etc., so forth, he's just a very smart man who wants his version of the world, which is not what everybody else wants. So it's just a battle of ideologies here. And the last issue is the first appearance of the Lazarus Pit. Minutes earlier, Raz's dead body had sunk into a foul-smelling hole, the Lazarus Pit, and lain there for a handful of seconds. Then slowly, the slab on which he lay rose. The still form stirred. And they can't believe, they said the legends are true that Ra's al Ghul cannot die. And this is where Talia first introduces that when he comes from the pits, he's in a fit of madness and has the strength of 10 men. This gentleman here, I can't remember his name, but he's like, Ling fears nothing, man nor ghost. However, even as the courageous Mongolian jumps, an arm lashes out, too quickly to be seen. And he drops like a sack of 2 broken twigs. And so Batman's like, it's up to me, it's my show. And so he tries to feign a punch. I put everything I've got into that right punch. And I've never hit a man harder. And he didn't blink. And so Talia, she loves Batman. And she doesn't want to see him harmed. So she finally gets her father to depart with him. And here's another thing about the Denny O'Neil era that I particularly love. And I think writers like Jim Starlin picked this up, and a few others around this time, Chuck Dixon, where Batman would actually interact with people, where he's not this superhero level, I'm Batman. I can do it because I'm Batman. She goes, are you okay? Yes. Humiliated, but physically all right. They give him some humility. He's a man. Not this super machine that a lot of comics nowadays try to impose. So a chase ensues, which is really a cool action scene, which I don't want to spoil. And it shows, again, the type of person Bruce Wayne, the Batman, is, where he's faced with the choice of saving somebody or chasing Raz. And at first he goes, of the choices, he goes, no, there was no choice. This was the right call to save this person. And I mean, look at this artwork. Oh my God. You don't see the quality anymore, especially since this was 1972, before digital. All hand done. Now don't get me wrong, the artwork in modern comics is nice, but nothing beats seeing an artist slaving over their work like this, like Jack Kirby or Neil Adams or, John Byrne, for example. And because Batman is the detective he is able to track down Ra's al Ghul. Detective, I respect you as I respect no other. You are truly a magnificent foe. It would grieve me to call for help, to order you shot. Therefore, a bargain, a chance to earn your life, a duel. And here's where, if you've seen the animated series, here's where we get that classic sword fight. And just look at the anatomy. Denny O'Neil's words just touching on what we're seeing. Beautiful visual storytelling. But listen to this and how Denny enhances it. This long afternoon is filled with clanging of clashing blades and the stench of bodies strained to the limit of human endurance. The sun reddens, dims, slips behind the distant dunes. Shadows soften the hardness and creep across the waste. That's all you need. You don't need 6 million dialogue boxes like you see in a lot of modern books. Sweet, simple, to the point, and effective. And just look at the way that they do the bodies in motion. Great, beautiful work. Now, something happens that makes Ra's al Ghul believe Batman dead, but he chases them. Driven by an instinct he cannot name, an instinct beyond understanding, he strides towards a certain destination, to where Ra's al Ghul stands alone, lost in solitary thought. Ra's, by the gods, you pursued me past your dying. Are you man or fiend from hell? And just like that, another moment where we don't need dialogue, just a punch to the face. Oh, great work. My God, beautiful artwork. And then again, Talia, will you take him to the authorities? I must. And am I also to be imprisoned? And here, one of the most classic, iconic scenes of him and Talia embracing. There's not much more I could say there, guys. I mean, these two were powerhouses on this book. Now, there is a backup story with Robin while he's off to college, and it's a little on the nose, but basically what it boils down to, I'm not going to get too far into it, but, I didn't realize this. Look at that. Oh my God, somebody cut out a panel. Wow. Oh, you know why? You never cut out the coupon. Oh my God. Anyway, leave it alone. Robin is with all his college friends, and he notices this kid steal money from this local place that's supposed to help college students. And he chases him down as Robin, and he goes, "Why?" The kid says, "Why should I care? You know, all this money that's supposed to go to you rich kids into this college, you all could afford to go anyway. What do I have?" And so Dick starts to see, he's like, this kid is too young to understand this pain and anger and resentment. And he thinks back to how he felt when Bruce took him in. And so he makes it a point to reach out to this kid in this bad neighborhood. And it's right here, check this out. Is hostility that Dick sees in a pair of eyes that should be too young to know what that feeling means. hostility and fear, much like that which another kid felt years before when another tall, ominous figure, the Batman, dared a young Dick Grayson to be strong in a hostile world. And because Dick was raised by someone with strong morals and standards, Dick basically says, I'm going to start a program at the college because it's time that the school started giving back to this community and these kids instead of the rich elite. So like I said, a little on the nose, but it's a great story, and you don't feel like you're being preached at. You feel like you're actually trying to reach out and help an individual the way that Batman has helped Dick, Tim, Jason, Barbara, Damian, etc., so forth. Great storytelling for the time. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. And that's why this particular issue of Batman is so damn iconic. And it took me so long to finally get a legit copy in my hand. So blemishes aside, I'm happy to finally have this. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, y'all, please first and foremost support your local comic shop wherever it is you like to pick up your books. And either if you have the ducats, get an original copy, or if not, grab a facsimile or a reprint. And if not, just get a collected trade that has this particular issue, because if you love Batman and you want to see the seeds that's kind of kicked off everything that we have now, this is one of those timeless issues. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate it if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Roz bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with y'all. Down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.